physicians, I think sometimes we forget our mission. Every day I come to work and I want to be able to heal someone. And that may sound like a grandiose comment, but it really isn't. I was watching a video, a movie called The Shift by Wayne Dyer. What he talked about is in the morning of our life, we oftentimes are very enamored with ambition, pushing, getting more money, accumulating more toys, you know, making sure that we have a good reputation, have more respect. And I think that as we go into the afternoon of our life, and that doesn't have to be 80 years old, it can be almost any age, we start to realize what really gives meaning to our life is exactly that, is to try to help others, serve others. And to me, it's not just a platitude. I really believe that it's one of my life's mission on a daily basis. The thing I want to talk today about is a different type of healing that you may be unaccustomed to. As a surgeon, we oftentimes think about a wound healing, a physical wound healing, but I'm going to talk today about healing of the mind. And the healing of the mind can be almost as important, or sometimes much, much more important than healing of the body. It begins with our intention. It begins with where we want to be. The story is I worked on a young lady yesterday who came from another state that had a scar on her forehead that was very, very difficult for her to bear. She already had a scar revision, and during the consultation with her, she started to cry. And I realized at that point what was going to be as important is to fix the physical scar as I was going to fix the emotional scar. And I knew that I've sort of predicted in the future where I would have to work with her, which was after her scar revision, she may go through the same feelings again, relive the experience with a previous surgeon who may have not been as caring or whatever it may be. And I just didn't want her to go through that longer, protracted recovery time and look at this and go, I'm going through this again. I can't believe it. I feel terrible. This is horrible. I can't believe this. This is terrible. You know, as you heard from my other video, that when all freedoms are taken away from you, you only have one freedom left, which is your attitude. And your attitude can do a lot. And the quote is from Viktor Frankl, who, as you may have remembered in another video, he survived the concentration camp, and he saw people around him dying. He saw his mother, his brother, his father, everyone die in front of him. The question is why? He saw in front of those people, besides, you know, being led to the gas chamber, he saw in front of him people that gave up hope. There's a good saying, you can live without food for a few weeks, you can live without water for a few days, you can live without air for a few minutes, but you can't live for about a second without hope. And that tells you the power of the mind. He would look at someone and he would see that within 48 hours he would die. Now, how would he predict that so accurately? He would see the person take his food, give it to someone else, and exchange it for cigarettes. Now, the reason that was a signal that the person had given up on hope. He just wanted to enjoy his last 1 or 2 days on earth, and he would give up. There's a book called The Biology of Belief by Bruce Lipton, and I actually was introduced to that book through Wayne Dyer's book, Excuses Be Gone. It's a powerful book. There's a couple stories in there that I want to share with you that I think will resonate, and hopefully it will, especially if you're struggling with things in your life right now. One is, he talked about this story, I think it was a long time ago, maybe 1950s or so, of a person that had warts. And this other doctor was actually healing people through the power of hypnosis, and the warts would go away. And one of these rare cases of a lot of warts, and this guy had warts all over his body, and the guy did hypnosis and the warts went away, and it was like this miracle. It was an amazing change. And then the doctor brought him to his other doctor and says, look what I've done. I've cured this guy of warts. This is amazing. And the other doctor said, no, I've already diagnosed him through a biopsy with a lethal condition known as ichthyosis. And he says, what? Ichthyosis? I was just curing warts. But the problem is, it wasn't warts, it was ichthyosis. This guy was supposed to die, but he lived for a long life. And then this doctor that was performing these hypnoses on people with warts, he went to start treating people with ichthyosis because all these people would fly into him to treat ichthyosis. But he couldn't cure another case. It was all over after that one case. Because at that point he didn't believe, and the patient didn't believe. No one believed that he was going to cure anything. And he said, I started to act. I just was acting and role-playing and thinking that I was actually going to cure these things, but I didn't really believe it anymore. And that was a huge component. So our belief is a huge component in our ability. I think his lack of belief translated into the patient's lack of belief when he was treating them. Another story was very interesting in this book, and I think it also helps you understand the opposite side. There was a person that was confined to death. In 3 to 6 months, he was supposed to die. He was told that he had advanced esophageal cancer by his doctor, that he was not going to make it. And interestingly enough, he died within 3 to 6 months, just as predicted. During the time of autopsy, they went in there and they found that he actually had he had cancer, but it wasn't advanced. It actually was in remission. There was only 2 or 3 drops of cancer in his body. So what killed him was not the cancer, but his belief that he was going to die because he was told that. And I truly believe that our mind can truly affect the way our body heals. So this patient yesterday that I was doing the scar revision, I said, what kind of vitamins should I take? What kind of food should I take to heal better? And I said, first of all, yes, good diet is going to help you heal. You have a horrible, fast food every single, 3 times a day. It may not necessarily help you heal as much as if you take enough ascorbic acid and various other healing vitamins. But what's the most powerful vitamin is something in your mind. If your mind believes this is going to tear open and not heal well, it will happen. It's almost a self-fulfilling prophecy. So what's a very huge component to what I do on a daily basis with my patients is not just heal the body, but work to heal the mind with my staff, with everyone around me. I think it's so important that, if we can bring meaning to our lives is to bring healing to someone else. You don't have to be a physician to do this. You can see everything I've just told you right now. It doesn't require a medical license to do this. And I think it's important that when we work with a patient or with another individual, client, even yourself, you work so in a holistic fashion to help that person heal. So how do you do this? Part of the thing that's really important is changing your beliefs. If you don't change your beliefs, you're scotch taping everything. I believe that the power of positive thinking is a fraud. Because if we simply force ourselves to believe something and we don't truly believe it, we don't really change. And that's something that is not what I'm talking about. An example was an operation from the Baylor College of Medicine, my alma mater, where a doctor, an orthopedic surgeon, actually did a sham operation. For about 50% of the people, he would actually go in and arthroscopically work on the knee to fix a meniscus tear or whatever it may have been in there. He was shaving cartilage, he was irrigating the wound and closing it. And another 50%, a large number of patients, all he would do is he was behind the drapes, make the incision, spray some water in the air, spend the same amount of time he would with the other patients, go in there and just close it. And what was amazing with this is both parties recovered equally well. In fact, some of the testimonies in there was a patient was able to go and play basketball. He was before crippled and walking with a cane. And why was that? Is it the placebo effect? Well, yeah, it is the placebo effect. But the placebo effect means our mind has a tremendous ability to tell us what we want to hear. And if we believe that we will fail, guess what? You probably will. And if you believe that you will heal, you probably will. And our frustrations are a major component, and our mind toward healing is powerful. So my patients who are going through a recovery phase, I really want to be able to be there for you in a holistic fashion so that I don't just discount your emotions. Emotions are real. I think that our attitudes are real. Our mind is real. What we think is real. And I really want to be there for you, not only just from the body perspective, but also to help heal your mind. And one more thing to think about is the best time to do it is before you go to sleep. Remember that we have about 6 to 8 hours as we sleep to work with our subconscious. There's a series I did, both a video and as well as a written blog on Maxwell Maltz. I talked about the power of intention, and I talked about our subconscious drive. Oftentimes, we can only hold one thought in our mind. Even if we multitask, we hold 3 or 4 thoughts in our mind at one time and we jump between them. But our subconscious mind has a powerful ability for us to heal. What is more powerful than 6 to 8 hours of our working to heal instead of working to increase our anxiety? So before you go to sleep, it's a great time to think about how to plan your next day, what your concerns are, how to express them, figure a resolution to them. Think about healing is right before you go to sleep. Set your intention for the next day and work yourselves toward a healing phase. And hopefully this was a message that was good for you. If it didn't work for you, that's okay. All of us have different messages we need. Thank you.